Today we're going to talk about painting hands, and I'm going to show you how I do it using the selective start method. So oftentimes portraits will include one or two hands. Here with my portrait of Brandon, he has his hand on a cello. So I'm going to paint it using the selective start method. But let's talk about some of the basics that you need to know when painting hands. For instance, you want to vary the line direction of the fingers. Let me show you what I mean. So here in my drawing of a hand, check out how the bottom part of the finger, the base carpal, is convex on the outer line of it, and then you move up to the second carpal and it's more straight, while the tip of the finger has a convex line. And that's what I mean by varying the lines of your fingers. You can see in my reference hand here for Brandon, there are the varying line directions that I was just talking about. There's the convex line on that middle finger, and you can see a straight line there on the ring finger. And then on the pinky, you can see how the outside edge is rounded outward. It's more convex. It can be helpful to pay attention to the position of the fingernails. That will let your viewer get the perspective of the actual hand in the way that it's fitting into your picture plane. So make sure you paint the fingernails in their correct perspective. This hand is a great representation of that idea, where the fingernails really help show the perspective of the hand. There were a degree of varying perspectives in this one hand, the way that it was placed on that cello, and I loved that it had shadow and highlights, and it was really fun to paint. Hi everybody, I just wanted to pop on and let you know, if you missed the free 3 ways to start a portrait painting workshop, well, I've compiled it all together into a free digital online course. You can go to my website and check it out. It's going to be at sjcportraitcourse.com, and you'll find it there in the courses section. This is 3 ways to start a portrait. It's free, and if you have ever walked up to your easel to start a portrait and you kind of felt lost, or you were having some doubts, you felt a little bit afraid, well, go watch this free video and that will all be cleared up for you. So check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. All right, back to your video. And while paying attention to the perspective of the hand you're painting, you want to look for the overlaps. And overlaps occur when the fingers, the base of the fingers kind of position themselves so that one's in front of the other. And usually you'll see that at the base where the fingers are connecting into the palm. So look and notice those overlaps. You don't want to paint your hand where, unless it's completely wide open, where everything's just in a straight, equal plane. So the other thing to think about while you're painting hands is to use a combination of warm and cool colors. Some of the warmest colors are going to be in between the fingers, especially when fingers are more close together. They usually tend to have a very reddish, dark reddish hue that is separating the fingers. If you look at some of the master painters from the past, like Bouguereau, Sargent, notice the red in between the fingers. It's really vibrant. With my hand here on my reference for Brandon, I wanted to show movement as if he were actually playing the cello. So I really pushed the brushwork along the edges where the knuckles are kind of melting into that sky background. I really felt like that gave the hand some movement, as if it were blurred when you caught that glimpse of Brandon as he was just getting along playing the cello. These are the kinds of fun, cool, artistic choices you get to make as the master of your painting, and these choices are what gives you your style and sets your artwork apart from other painters. And notice here how I painted in the thumb. It's basically a silhouette of the thumb. It's completely in shadow. It's blocked by that cello. So here's a look at a second hand that I've done here in the selective start method. So here's something to be aware of when you're painting hands. Basically, the fingers have 3 carpals, with the base carpal at the bottom of the fingers where it attaches into the palm. So then the next carpal, the middle carpal, is going to be 2/3 of the base carpal, and then the tip is going to be 2/3 of the second carpal. So what that means to me is that as the finger moves away from the palm, it tapers and it gets thinner as it moves towards the fingertip. So the thumb has a little bit of a different makeup. It only has 2 carpals. So notice there's some good overlap here in this hand where the index finger, which is pointing, is kind of nestled in behind that middle finger at the base where it tucks into the palm. I believe that the hands are just as important to a portrait as is the face. You really want to take your time with it and paint it well. It's funny, when I'm painting the hand, especially in the selective start method, it always seems like a jumbled mess to me. I'm truly not even thinking in my mind that I'm actually painting a hand. I'm just looking for those little mosaic tiles of different color and different value, and I'm just trying to put them in the right place. And when it's all said and done, I look up and then voila, there's a hand. And then I go back over it and do some of the refinements at that point. And notice how the palm is painted as a wedge as it moves into the wrist. I couldn't talk about painting hands without showing you this cute little girl with her hand on her cheek. I just love that it gave such an expression to the painting. I really loved doing it. And notice all the hot red color between her finger there. So there's just a few things to remember when painting hands, such as varying the line direction, tapering the fingers, and showing some of the overlaps. But if you want to really add some expression to your portraits, then go ahead. Don't be afraid to throw in a hand or two. It'll definitely punch up the emotion and feeling that your portrait conveys. All right, have fun painting!